Dame toda la noche, no nos queda mucho tiempo más. No quiero perder lo que queda. Seguimos siempre la pasión y confiamos solo en el amor. Yeah. No quiero perder lo que queda. Y más allá, a través de la gran oscuridad, hasta que me convierta en rayos. Y más allá, a través de la gran oscuridad. Y más allá. Resuena por la pared, creando una canción. No quiero perder el ritmo. Y más allá, a través de la gran oscuridad, hasta que me convierta en rayos. Y más allá, a través de la gran oscuridad. Y más allá. Crucemos el número en solo un trueno de horizontes. Seremos miles. Crecemos en número en solo un trueno de horizontes. Seremos miles. Más allá, a través de la gran oscuridad, hasta que me convierta en rayos. Y más allá, a través de la gran oscuridad. Y más
Get up. We want you to get on your feet. Stand up, stand up. Come on, get loose with the heat. Right now. Leave your body till you black out. So get the fuck up. So cover and duck, you're out of luck, we don't give up. Yeah, we're going up, next floor is us, you're riding with us.
take me, I don't know where you take me. I just follow your trail and I'm losing your mind and I'm losing your head. Let me escape from this unlove, cause I'm a prisoner. I just want to look my way and never back to you.
us now. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Simplay Motorsport for the 5th and 6th round here at the Daytona International Road Course night race. First night race of the season for the pro lads, so let's see what these boys have in store for us. 13 runners. We have lost AH. Hopefully he can get back connected, and Fury is on his way, so 2 guys short. We are missing Sooty Apex tonight, but a fun grid. I'm Matthew Duffin, your commentator, and taking you through tonight's action with me is Kelly Davis once again. Kelly, great to have you here.
Thank you, Matt. Yeah, it's great to be back here on a Thursday night on Simplay, and looking forward to this. This is an interesting track here at Daytona Raceway, so I think there's some good action going to happen this evening. As normal, we want to see your comments on the stream on YouTube. Love to hear your feedback this evening. We'll try and keep you entertained and not talk too much touring car and F1 rubbish. We'll do our best.
Do you have any fun facts of the tracks ready for the night tonight, Kelly?
Oh, of course I have. And everyone seems to... people are seeming to get the habit now that I'm some sort of fact machine for tracks, but it's not the case. It just is purely Wikipedia. Okay, so pretty much all my facts come from Wikipedia. So
we've lost...
of course,
we've lost another driver, I've just noticed. We're down to 12 runners, not the 14 we had. So just let me work out who's missing. Well, that looks like somebody's coming back in. A bit of lag there. So, yep, someone's back in. Keegs is back in. I think Keegs was the guy who was missing. Oh, no, AH is back in, sorry. So, AH is back. We are still Fury down. I'm just trying to figure out who the other driver is. AH, Emo Guy, Phil, Deeks, Little Each Garage, Andy Keegs. Dan, no unorthodox. So unorthodox and Fury, the 2 Ferrari guys actually. He was there, so the 2 Ferrari guys were waiting for. I'm wondering if he's not got his wheel set up. I know sometimes if you load the game with the pad, it doesn't load it on the wheel, so he may have to just reload the game. So hopefully we can get unorthodox and Fury back in the session later on in this one, as we currently on board Deeks going to start a lap, I do believe. Yeah, here he comes. Obviously the guys who tuned in last night, what a night it was for Monkey Boy. 2 race wins out of 2 for him last night, and he took his double points, so a good night of points for him. And good bit of racing from Rabbit Joe and Liam Gamer in the Iron Brew B Porsches for them too as well. Will we get some drama tonight on the circuit, or is G going to continue to keep up his fine form?
I think there's going to be some drama on circuit tonight. I think this is high speed, this circuit. I feel it's going to, and slipstream is important here on the ovals. There's a long section where you're absolutely flat scat. I've played this track before a couple of times. I quite like it, but I did, just before we started, I did have a whiz round in my touring car, I was flat scat out on the back straight. Topped out at 150 miles an hour, and it needed a longer gear. So these cars are going to be a bit more powerful than my touring cars. But they are going to be very, very fast out on the back straight this evening. Couple of facts about this. As I said, we're on the road course here at Daytona. Daytona is full of history. So much history. The original track was built in 1959 and originally cost $3 million to build. A rebuild in 2016, to give you an idea, cost $400 million to have a refurb in 2016, which is where it is now. It's a classic for NASCAR, which normally do the oval version. The lap record around this road course is a 1:33.6, which was Oliver Jarvis in a Mazda RT24P, which is a LMP type car. As we see Deeks getting in a bit out of shape in that turn 1. Tricky turn 1 this, isn't it,
Yeah,
Matt?
very horrible turn 1. It seems to just never end. It seems to be nice and wide on entry and then just tightens up the further round you go. As we see Andy getting it nice and right. Unorthodox and Fury are in, so we have got the 15 runners for tonight. Like I say, no Sooty Apex for this one as he is away working, and hopefully he's working hard and not sat watching the stream. So if I see him comment, I'll be sure to be on at him about that one. But yeah, it is a very tricky turn 1, Kelly. You're right. It seems to be off the high-speed oval section, and then you sort of come into this big braking zone that just tightens. The further you get round it, it just gets tighter and tighter and tighter. And quite a tricky one for the drivers to get right tonight.
Yeah, I think someone will put me straight on this one if I'm doing it wrong, but I feel like it's almost like a two braking zone type corner where you kind of try and pick your braking point firstly, and then kind of come off the brakes and then on again as the corner tightens up. If you get it right, it's very rewarding and a good opportunity for overtaking. And of course, the other interesting part of this track is the chicane on the back straight, which I think Andy's coming up to.
Yeah, it's just coming up to now.
This is very fast. You feel like you want to take more speed on the entry, but it will catch you out. The exit is very, very fast.
I've got a good story about Andy actually in the bus stop chicane. We did the 24 hours of Daytona in over the Christmas period here at Simplay Motorsport. Andy was racing in that in an LMP1, and he was actually getting that tired. It were early hours of the morning, and he actually missed the bus stop chicane, went straight on the oval bit, and was sort of like, I remember him saying on commentary at the time, he reminded me last night, and he was saying that, I was waiting for the chicane to come up, I was waiting, and before you know it, I was at turn 1, and I realised that I'd gone past the chicane. I was nodding off in my chair, and I'd gone past the chicane and completely straight lined it and took the oval.
Oh dear. So he nodded off.
Yeah.
And just kind of ignored it.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, I think I may have tried that technique when I was in the in a general lobby with a couple of Muppets, and one made me angry, so I probably hopped past the chicane and crashed into him. Not that we condone that. No, of course not. No, we can't condone that kind of behaviour in the Muppet lobbies, can we?
Definitely not. Definitely not. As we see Big Boy Brazier, what can he do this week? 2 disconnections, don't forget, at his home circuit last week. And he's not got his lights on at the moment. Meant to have your lights on in the night races. He's not got them on as of yet. So has he got a bit of damage to the front of that car? That front bumper looks a bit dislodged, if you ask me. But hopefully he can get his lights on. Oh, he's gone back into the pit, so that'll put his lights on, definitely. But yeah, double disconnection for Jamie last week. No points for him on his home circuit, which he was really looking forward to. He sent you a fair few stats, and to disconnect on both races and score no points is not what you want on one of your favourite circuits.
No, absolutely not. And Jamie was chatting to me all day. He'd found me on Facebook and was chatting to me all day about. I say all day. It makes it sound like we did 8 hours of chatting about Snetterton track, which we did, and a couple of messages. He's a big fan of that. It was unfortunate for him last week, indeed.
Yeah, it really was.
As we're just on board with Ian Emo Guy here, and as he comes around this over, I believe I'll check my details in it. I think it's 31 degree banking just there. But as you see, it's coming up to this fast chicane. As you come down here, you can almost not see it. And then you have to pick a braking point late as you dare, pick up the apex, and this is the bit here. Once you get to there, then you can nail it, and you can just get full drive out the other side. And it's going to be important for people to get that traction through that chicane, so they get a good run onto the next part of the oval, as you can see, and down the start-finish straight. The other thing is, it's an extremely long pit lane. Very wide, like you would expect for a NASCAR oval, but very, very long as well.
It is, and I just want to go back to your bus stop chicane sort of comment. It's as if that first part of the chicane, the minute you hit your first apex, then you turn the right slightly, and just the car wants to slide on you just as you turn right to take that second part. You've got to get it. You kind of have to let it slide so that your car's then pointed in the right direction to come out. That's where you could see a few problems tonight for a lot of drivers. Being caught up at the chicane. The only G still in the pit's not yet set a time, neither is Unorthodox Fury, AH or Keegs. So far it's Gary131, the defending pro champion, who is on pole. I'm just going to take you through the Drivers' Championship at the moment. Obviously, Drivers' Championship after round 2 is now based off the drop score, so a drop score for your lowest score of the season is dropped. So obviously if some people's points seem the same as last week, that's due to the drop score factor coming into this one. But the only G leads the way on 52 points, 12 points clear of Jamie Brazier on 40. So even though he scored nothing last week, he's dropped nothing effectively, so he's done quite well there. Gary131 is then third on 31, with Andy in fourth on 28, tied with AH on 28, who had a great weekend last weekend with his teammate, who is in P6 on 26 points. Great, a lot of points for them shake and bake Porsches round Snetterton. Little each. And just behind him on 24 points. Unorthodox then sits in P8 on 19, with Phil on 18. Peaceful Explosion has 17 points. Keegs has 15, tied with Emo Guy. Such Apex 14 points, tied with Deeks. Fury's on 8 and Welshie on 6 points. The constructors table looks like this. Forever Forward Racing, the two Mercedes of G and Peaceful, lead the way, 14 points clear of Leach Motorsport, Gary and Little Leach, who are tied second place with Iron Brew Racing of Keegs and Big Boy Brazier. Shake and Bake Motorsport of AH and D Biggs, they sit P4 on 54 points with the Class of 97. Andy and Emo Guy in P5. Run Flat Racing of Phil and Sutty are just behind them on 32 points, with FU Racing, Furion and Orthodubs in their Ferrari on 27 points, and DW Racing of Deeks and Welshie in their Lamborghini, now not the Acura, on 20 points, as we're on board the Pro Champion coming up to the chicane.
Yes, indeed. I was just looking through and try and pick someone to have a lap round. So I hope Gary's going to do another lap after this one, because I'll try and run you through the track. As I said, I quite like this. You a fan of this one, Matt?
I like Daytona. Yeah, I like the Daytona track. It's obviously it doesn't suit the car I enjoy, because obviously I enjoy the Acura quite a lot. So it doesn't suit the Acura for its less of top end speed, but it is a circuit that's. It's got a bit of everything that I enjoy. It's flowing, it's fast, it's quick, the corners are tricky. It's just got a bit of everything that I really do enjoy here. As you see Gary on the back of Keegs at the moment. Hopefully Keegs won't hold him up.
Goes slightly wide. So easy to do there as we're through turn one. Little bit of a couple of kinks left and right as you come round to this kind of hairpin. We're firmly in the midfield, the infield now, as Gary goes a bit wide out through there. I don't know if there's a slowdown out there, but he run that line last time he went through here. Now this one's flat through here. Braking zone for the next one is about here, just after the cones. This is a bit of one of those hurry up and wait type corners. Yeah,
I was just about to say, this is another corner that you kind of got to wait for to get back on the power, aren't you?
Yeah, total hurry up and wait corner, that one. This one again, now keep it between the white lines, because if you go out to the right or cut the left, you'll get a slowdown each side, and the last thing you want is a slowdown as you come back onto this back straight. As you go onto the oval banking again, you want as much traction as you can possibly get. A slowdown there is going to be painful. So as you can see, we're on the back straight, the fast chicane coming up again, and as Matt said, you kind of want to pick your braking point, get the left done, and then as you turn to the right, make sure you don't lose the back end. And we took a lot of line there. Again, if you go over that white line, you're going to get a slowdown, and a slowdown on this part again is going to be disastrous, because as you go around the banking again, you're flat scat at whatever speed we're doing, 160, 170 mile an hour, something like that. There's the pit entry. It's nice and wide. You can see that there's you can't miss it, but there's lots of it, and the pit lane runs all the way round as we go to turn one. Somebody's lost it out in front, and Gary's kind of followed him in a little bit. He's trying to tuck it back to the apex. Now the pit exit is here on your left, right there, so you're feeding into traffic from the wall, and you can't see the traffic behind that wall either. So interesting little track. As I said, I'm a fan, so hopefully we're going to have some cracking good racing tonight.
I'm hoping so. We had a cracking 24-hour race here. We had a cracking 4 races here in the Pro and Pro-Am last season. We had a cracking 2 races last night, so I'm really hoping we're in for a bit of the same, as Gary's still currently on pole with a 44.1, only 37 thousandths quicker than Andy, that's a very good time. Now, Andy was saying last night in commentary, watch for the Lamborghinis, watch for the Mercedes around here, but everybody seemed to forget about the Porsche. The 2 Porsche cars of Liam and Rabbit Joe last night was fantastic, and Gary seems to be setting the example yet again. Peaceful Explosion, what a qualifying for him at the moment, up into P3. We've not seen him up this high in qualifying for quite some time since last season, but only a tenth and a half off the lead. Gee, this man, 2 race wins last week, he's currently sat P4. What can he do?
Yes, indeed, and these top 4 only covered by half a second. In fact, Little Leach just a smidge behind him and still under the second for the top 5. So, around a course which is, as he jumps back to Wikipedia, nearly 3 miles long.
GG through the bus stop chicane and did exactly what we said, just got too much of a slide coming through, and I tell you what, that is going to really hurt his next run, because he's lost all the momentum and the speed coming through the bus stop chicane, and that is really going to hurt his next run. He's not going to have carried that speed through the oval. He's going to have to go and pretty much do another outlap before nailing a quick lap.
Yes, indeed, and G pushing the limits, exactly what they should be doing. To find those limits, and you need every tenth. You need every tenth.
Yeah.
So you have to take those limits. As I said, you can see how tight it is at the top. So you need every little bit you can get, and G just finding those limits.
One car that seems to be struggling at the moment, just looking at the time screens, Unorthodox and Fury, 13th and 14th, 3.9 and 4.1 seconds off the pace. That Ferrari does not seem to... based off the qualifying times, it doesn't seem to look great around here. I know they both have said, maybe it was the wrong car choice for this season.
Yeah, maybe.
But, the Ferrari doesn't look great.
I like the Ferrari, but I feel like it's... and Dan's just got a pit lane penalty.
Grid penalty.
I don't know what he was doing in the pit lane, but he's been told off for it. Yes, the Ferrari, driving it with... I used to drive this car a lot when I first got this game.
Yeah.
But it's steady, but it's not stunning, is it? It's not the quickest thing.
Do you know what? I've never really been in... I've drove the GTE Ferrari, but I've never really had a go in the GT3 Ferrari because... Well, obviously, because I've driven a lot in the Audi, a lot in the Porsche, and then obviously a lot in the Acura. Never really had to go in the GT3 Ferrari, so I can't really tell you much about it, to be fair.
I found that its straight line speed isn't all that great, and again, I'm only saying these things from my experience. And anybody who's been watching my races in Clios and touring cars, then my word isn't worth a lot of anything really. But it's not. But I don't think it's particularly quick in a straight line, and this track needing a lot of top end speed is it's going to. I think it's going to struggle. I think both Dan and Fury are going to struggle all the way through this round. To be fair,
this goes back to last night as well. We saw Dom Productions and Daniel Francis in the Acura around here. Just couldn't really do anything. You saw them when the minute they got onto the infield, they seemed fine. The minute they hit the oval, that was it. And one thing I've just got to notice, Kelly, is such apex. Get back to doing some work, sat on the chat. Good luck to everyone, especially Phil. I hope you're working, mister, not sat in the chat texting us. But yeah,
that's right.
Don and Daniel last night seemed to struggle. Are we going to see the same with Fury and Unorthodox? You've got to have top speed on this track. That is the most important thing for this circuit.
Yes, indeed. As we see Fury just bumping down into the infield a little bit. You don't want to be doing that. You want to stay up on that banking and not kind of jump between the banking and the flat, because it unbalances the car a little bit.
It does.
Yes, indeed. So as we see, where is Fury? He's going around the start-finish straight, isn't he?
Yeah, just coming into turn one now.
Yeah, he's into turn one. So we'll see if he can
just
keep an eye on his times.
Just want to mention, while we've got you here, obviously we mentioned last night a few of the drivers did the 24-hour Daytona race. A few of the guys who were in the lobby tonight did the 24-hour of Daytona. Gary, Andy, Little Leach, Fury himself, and Unorthodox all did the 24-hour race, as AH has just gone up into P10 at the moment, putting Unorthodox and Fury, the two Ferraris, on the back row of the grid. So all them guys competed around here at Daytona. If you missed that video, go check out part 4. You'll see Unorthodox, or you'll hear Unorthodox snoring for about half an hour, 20 minutes, if not a bit longer, on part 4 of that video.
That's my boy.
But a cracking drive. Unorthodox obviously took the GTE class win in that one. Fury and Gary was in the GTE class. Champ won the GT at the LMP1 class with Andy, I do believe, P2. Now, here's a little fact for you. Gary and Little Each, for those guys who race the Thrustmaster T150, Gary was parked on the side of the road for about half an hour, 40 minutes at one stage of the race, and we didn't know what was happening. I had a video call off of Gary himself at the time. He didn't know what was happening. It turns out his wheel had overheated and had cut out. Apparently it's a common problem with the T150s. For then an hour later, Craig's to do the same thing. His brother did the same thing an hour after Gary's had done it. So then they've took the tops off the top of the case off the T150. They've got a fan blowing down on it. That's not what they wanted in a 24-hour race. Let's hope it's not just a Daytona road course thing and it's not going to happen again for them tonight.
Absolutely, yeah. Logic Tech all the way.
100%.
Yeah. And did I hear a rumour there's another 24-hour coming up?
There's a 2 hour 40 Le Mans coming up, 2.4 hour. But there is at the end of this season there is going to be another 24-hour race as G has completed qualifying half a second off the pole lap, even 4 tenths down on his teammates. His teammates out-qualified G for the first time. Here is his teammate. Can he improve as he crosses the line? No, he can't. Yeah, another 24-hour race. That track and car selection hasn't been decided yet, but there is a 2-hour 40 race round Le Mans coming up in a couple of weeks. Them details will be finalised. I think we'll do that on a Saturday night, I do believe, just a 2-hour 40 race, or maybe during the week's break we've got coming up when we should have had Monaco, but Monaco got removed from the calendar. So we'll obviously keep your eyes out on the Facebook page. If you're in the Facebook page, keep your eyes out there, as well as keep your eyes out excuse me, on Instagram for all the details of that one. Big Boy Brazier and Keegs completing their laps together. Keegs P10 and Big Boy Brazier P5. Keegs has a bit of a family battle on track, as his dad, Welshie, is in the Pro Group this year. Now both in the Lamborghini. And look at these two Lamborghinis running in unison. It's as if they're on a team photo. Yeah.
This must be media time.
Bit of media day for the Iron Brew Racing A-boys here.
Bit of media time for these two. The 24-hour thing sounds exciting, which I thought might link us quite nicely into 21 people watching, and hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, go to Facebook, find Simplay Motorsport, Instagram, all those things. You do Instagram, Matt?
Yeah, we're on Instagram.
Yeah,
Slowly we get in there with it.
Yeah, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, make all the likes, do all the stuff. Better still, tell your friends. You know, say, ring them up. Say, oh, I'm listening. Look, I got this this thing on YouTube. Like all these people driving around in these virtual cars, and a couple of guys talking rubbish over the top of it. Come and have a look. You know, tell your friends, all the rest of it. So that was our qualifying.
Yeah, qualifying done then, and Gary 131 takes his first pole position his second pole position of the season, as I just load my stats page up. So Gary's second pole of the year. Can he convert it into a win? But he's going to have a tough time with Andy starting alongside him. Peaceful Explosion, his best qualifying, up in P3 ahead of his teammate the Only G, with Big Boy Brazier back in 5th, Little Each in 6th place, D-Big 7th, Phil down in P8 with Emo Guy 9th, Keegs in 10th, AH P11, couldn't get the lap together probably for him. Welshie down in 12th with Deeks 13th. Fury P14 out-qualifies Unorthodox, who has a good place penalty anyway, but will start P15 and last. The two Ferraris a bit off the pace. They've got work to do in the race while we just wait for the drivers to ready up. Who's your money on in this one?
We say it every time, don't we? The Only G, Gary's looking comfortable, isn't he?
Yeah.
I think he could, if he gets a good start, he could get away with this one. Jamie Brazier, Little Leach is in there as well. Peaceful Explosion, he's qualifying well. Hopefully the track suits him. Any of these guys, I'm going to go for Gary tonight.
Yeah, I think I might for race one, but don't forget Andy as well, who starts alongside him. Andy, this is a stat for you as well. He started on the front row of the grid in the last 3 races, 2 pole positions and a second place for himself now. So he's looking good guns in qualifying at the moment. He looks like he's doing the business out there on the track when he needs to do so. We are just waiting for the drivers to ready up. Once they have all readied up, you'll see the drivers pull away, but they won't have control of their cars until the lights are out, but they'll all be ready to go.
Yeah, as we said, this will be a rolling start here at Daytona. I believe that's the only thing we can do here, isn't it? This track is only
can't do a standing start.
Rolling start. Yeah. So those of you watching and pay attention and are keen, all the rest of it, go, oh, why are they doing a rolling start? The game dictates that we must, so that's what we must. So it'll be a rolling start. So these guys will, I presume, head off on a formation lap shortly.
No, what they'll do is just slowly sprint to the grid, and then the lights will go out and they'll have control of the car. They're on, where are they? They're just coming off the last actual banking, which would be turn 4 on the oval, heading down to what would be the pit lane. And then when they're already up, it'll start to roll them forward, and then you'll hear the lights and they'll go out just before the line, and then they'll be away racing.
Excellent indeed. So we're just getting ourselves sorted and all syncing up and all the rest of it before we get into.
Here we go. So you see everybody just rolling along. You'll hear the noise of the lights in a moment. There we go.
Yep.
And for the first time tonight, we are green here at Simplay Motorsport for the Pro Round 5 of the season. Everybody looks like they're getting a good start. Watching to turn 1, it can be a bit chaotic. Andy in Gary then side by side down into turn 1, and Andy's going to have to take that wide line. G as well, having to take a wider line to let his teammate come up the inside through turn 1. G just tucks in the back. In fact, Jamie Brazy looks like he's hassling the back of G, and Gary's got a good start as he's just gapped Andy a little bit, and that was peaceful there. Did he just tap the back of Andy, I wonder? G trying to look underneath. Oh, in fact, G's had a moment. G's been tagged by somebody there. I think Brazier tagged him, and G's got to spin the car around as quick as possible to get back on the track. And G, mistakes early doors. We didn't quite see what happened. I think he got tapped round though, Kelly.
Yeah, it was hard to see. We couldn't really see there. The camera angle wasn't great as we were in close there, but mostly a good start. I thought turn 1, somebody else goes off to the side.
Yeah, that's
there.
Welshie.
That's Welshie, is it? Yeah, and I thought turn 1 was very measured and controlled by everybody there. I was expecting chaos into turn 1, but we didn't have it. It was just a little bit further after that. But look at Dan. What a start that was for Dan. Look,
yeah,
from
back
the
to the grid
up to 9th. I'm going to get off him before I ruin his race.
Well, I was just about to say, you can see there the difference in the closing speed between the Lamborghini and the slipstream of Dan, and Dan not having a slipstream up front. But this is big boy Brazier. There's Little Leach having a look up the inside of Emo Guy into the bus stop chicane. Oh, and just puts the Emo Guy on the grass a little bit. They're still side by side as they come through. Keegs then just behind this battle. And has Little Leach got that job done? Yes, he has. In fact, Emo Guy flashing the lights and has dropped behind Keegs, I do believe now. So clearly not happy with that one. But they'll continue race. Oh, there's a Porsche just behind in the wall. Who's that? That's AH who's clipping the wall behind. Emo Guy staying high. Little Leach. Oh, look at this. What's happening with Little Leach? All the Lamborghinis are sort of swamping the Porsche man, and Leach Motorsport is being swallowed up, and Keegs has tapped the side of Little Leach, who's in the side of Emo Guy. Oh, and they're 3 into 1. And it does not work even on the oval. And I tell you what, Keegs was squeezing Little Leach high, and Little Leach had nowhere to go. Emo Guy straight on at turn 1. And I don't think much can be said there apart from Keegs was just trying to squeeze Little Leach into Emo Guy there. Looks
like the Lamborghinis had
whoa, there's another one off. That is
right
whoa! And he's caught up with Keegs as well. I do believe that was either Deeks or Welshie. I think it was Deeks, because Welshie's at the back. Yeah, Deeks, look. And he's gone straight across the grass into the side of Keegs, and he was a passenger going across the grass there, Kelly.
Yes, absolutely, he was. Yeah, he lost it in there or got tagged. I don't know. I'm not quite sure. But as he went across the grass, he was totally out of control, and where he was going to end up, was anybody's guess. And unfortunately, he ended up right in the middle of some other cars, and there was
there's
chaos.
A Ferrari getting that horribly wrong. And who is that? That's it's Dan. Dan got that horribly wrong there and went straight into the wall.
Like he wasn't in control of the car.
Oh, look at this Mercedes.
Yeah, look at the power difference. Don't think the Porsches are particularly good in the straight line either.
No, but look at G. He's breezed past 2 of them on the high side, and he's going to have a look. He's having a look at AH. Is that AH? Yeah, no, that was D Biggs. He's having a look at P7. Is G at the moment? Currently 9 seconds off the back of the leader, Gary.
D Biggs in front of him. As G moves to the outside, hasn't quite got the closing speed on that one, but it is quicker. It is quicker in a straight line.
Look at Peaceful in front, gaining on Phil. He's going around the outside of Phil as well. So Peaceful in the other Mercedes, doing the same as what G's doing. That Mercedes looks very good in a straight line tonight.
Peaceful's dropped down. He was in second a lap ago. So I don't know what happened to Peaceful. If you probably something like that.
Something similar to that, I'd imagine, as he's kept out the way of everybody and gets going now. He's lost a few more places and back down to P9. He goes then at the moment. Nobody has pitted yet. I'm quite surprised that no one's pitted even for damage so far, because there was a lot of damage on a few of them cars. But as we say that, look, Emo Guy comes into the pits. Obviously, you are allowed to pit before the pit window at lap 6 if you have sufficient damage. And we saw from Emo Guy, Keegs, Little Leach, and in fact Deeks as well. The 3 on the banking come together, and then Deeks across the infield as well. So I'm not surprised that them 3 are pitting, although Deeks looks like he stayed out.
Yes, indeed. And we're only in lap 3, and it's really interesting already how these different cars perform on this kind of circuit, and who's struggling and who isn't. As I say, the Lamborghinis, although, here we go, look, we've got a Porsche in the slip now. He's in the slip of G, right in the slip, but again, hasn't quite got enough
it looks like it's got enough to get him past the Lamborghini, but not enough to that Mercedes in a straight line.
That Merc.
Oh, that is powerful. That is powerful. And G now up into P4. Oh, he's made a mistake coming through the bus stop. Makes a
Is he gonna
slight
get-
mistake. Yeah, D
Yeah.
Biggs has gone straight past him, look.
Yes, indeed. He's going to get slowed down for that one. I'm sure he is. Unless he eased out of it enough. I wouldn't have thought so. He cut quite a lot of grass there, didn't he? As you can see, G's back into the slip. Goes round the high side, look, all the way round, all the way round that Porsche.
Easy as you like.
That Merc's got some power, hasn't it?
That really has. That Merc is one to watch in this race. Emo guys out the pits. Little Leach and Keegs are about to be... they are a lap down, sorry. The leader has lapped them. Not the start to this race they'd have wanted. Gary, 2.9 out in front at the moment, so doing absolute bits.
We haven't talked a lot.
No.
We haven't talked a lot about Gary. Gary seems to have this one hooked up. Your man on pole is 3 seconds now ahead of Andy, who was your second place starter. Gary's got himself into a bit of a rhythm. Had a nice little battle with Gary on Sunday night in the touring cars. I held him back for a couple of laps, which I was happy enough with, and I didn't manage to crash him out. I'll take that as a success on Sunday night. But he seems to be in a groove now and just pulling away from Andy at the moment. So we'll see how this progresses. We are a mandatory pit stop, aren't we? Tonight.
Yeah, lap 6. Lap 6. Deeks is in the pits now. He was the other one with damage. Did an extra lap. I wondered why he did at least either no rear wing. That would be at least quite a bit on the rear. So that rear can't have been nice to drive. Don't know why he did an extra lap. I expected him in when Emo Guy, Little Leach and Keegs pitted. But he's coming now nonetheless. So he's in to do his stop. Obviously, it's mandatory pit stop lap 6 unless you have sufficient damage that you're struggling to drive with. And looking at Deeks' last lap at 2:28, he's definitely struggling to drive that car.
So, just to clear this up then, if those guys who've done pit stops for damage, does that then count as their mandatory pit stop? Yeah, it does. So they don't have to do another one?
No, because they're damaged sufficiently where it's affecting their driving, they're fine to go, because their pit stop's going to be longer than a regular pit stop anyway to repair that damage. So that's kind of their penalty. They can pit early, but they've got to have sufficient damage, which is going to take a while in the pit lane, and not just a quick splash and dash, if you like, or maybe a quick change of tyres, something like that, as we see Phil on the back of D Biggs for P5 and 6 here as Deeks exits the pit lane. That shows you how long he's been in the pits, because he's now behind Emo Guy and was quite a way in front of Emo Guy. He's now down well behind Emo Guy at the moment. Keegs has passed Little Leach somewhere on track as well, and is in fact Deeks having to keep well out of the way straight away the minute he comes out the pit lane, as the leaders are coming through the field. Then Fury up in P8 at the moment, not looking. We said the Ferrari might struggle, but P8 for Fury from 14th on the grid. It's not a bad start for him. 5 laps in. Yeah,
absolutely. And is that a case of him just keeping his nose clean? I mean, the car looks in good shape. Doesn't look like he's had a hard time.
Yeah.
So is that a case of? Is that a case of Fury's just kept his nose clean for this one? I haven't seen any comments from the Fury Massive. The Fury Massive on the comments tonight.
I've seen Fury's granddad. Fury's granddad said evening all, go FU racing earlier on. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Big pardon. Sorry, granddad.
Hopefully Fury's granddad's still with us. Let us know if you're still there, Fury's granddad. As Little Leach is in the pits for a second time in as many laps here, so it's gone from bad to worse for Craig. You've got to get to lap 13 to have done 3/4 distance to be able to classify yourself as points, and out the pits comes Craig now, but he is a long way down.
And as you see, you can't just enter the track there again. There's some cones stopping you. You have to do this little tricky little pit lane thing. And as you see, the car is, there's a big wall there, so you can't see what's coming up to your right hand side, and they can't see you. So it's a little bit of a tricky pit out. Little Leach,
very deep.
Those tyres are cold now, Little Leach. You want to be careful of that. At the complete other end of the grid, your teammate,
your teammate and brother,
is still 3 seconds, holding the gap 3 seconds ahead.
I don't think he is. Andy's just spun. I heard a car really over revving it, and look at that time between Gary and Andy. It's now up to 4 seconds. I think Andy must have made a mistake on the exit of that corner, Kelly, as you were saying.
I think he might have had half a. I mean, he's still pointing in the right direction and whatever. Lost about 8/10 to Gary, so maybe just had a little bit of a thing. But here, look out, who's on the charge? Look, it's the one and only G, isn't it? And he's right up the chuff of big boy Brazier as they're on the infield circuit. So we'll see how this one pans out.
Fury's granddad's just put in the comments, don't worry, we're here. His mum is watching from work with a laughing face. So good to see you both here. Glad to have you here as well.
Race, do they?
No, they don't. They're brilliant fans. They love the racing. They love watching Fury take part as well, and they're always vocal in the comment section. And it's always good to have them here. And look at that speed of the Mercedes close in. Bit of slipstream there. I mean, the setup's got to be right on the car, but that Mercedes has just launched past Jamie Brazier like he's going backwards. Yeah, and Jamie has to tuck back in. No, and the thing is, on the oval section, there's no defence. You can't defend that. That is just that Mercedes. And let's see if Jamie can keep with him in the slipstream. He's gone. He's gone.
Yeah, look, he's pulling away from him.
He's just gone. That even in the slipstream, the setup of G's car must be absolutely brilliant because he's pulled from Jamie. 11 seconds back to Gary with on lap 7, sorry, of 17, so 11 to go. With a pit stop, it's going to be tough for him to gain on Gary. I mean, Gary's not going to make it easy for him, no doubt, but can G, who's got that gap to 9 seconds, obviously, just as he comes into turn 1, that'll obviously increase a little bit more. He's a bit deep there and has to cut back in.
Yeah, he went deep enough, didn't he? Yeah. I was just interested to stay on board, just to see if the Lamborghini drags the Merc back in again on the infield. And under braking there, look, Jamie does pull him in a little bit. You will get the yo-yo effect.
Yeah.
You will get the yo-yo effect where it seems like you've really gained, and then obviously the guy in front is always on the accelerator quicker than you are. So then pulls away again.
Bit of a snap.
Yes, indeed. G seems to have lost it there.
Yeah, he's letting Jamie. It looks like he was letting Jamie out of position, but Jamie can't get past because of the Mercedes pull his beat. Fury's mum, she's here with a thumbs up. Nice to have you both here live with us tonight. Yeah, G just had a bit of a snap coming through the quick left-hander there.
Yes, indeed. At the moment, this is the closest battle on track. So G had a bit of a moment which brought Jamie back in a little bit, but I don't think he's going to be there for very long. G gets back into his stride with that Merc and he's away.
Yeah, indeed he is. Look at him, he's gone already. His teammate's in the pits at the moment. P11 is his teammate now. Should come out ahead of Emo Guy, I'd imagine, who's pitted early doors in his Lamborghini. I tell you what, if Peaceful can get out Mercedes hooked up like G can, he could be in for a few places tonight as well. Andy announced on the stream last night that he's taking double points, and so far so good. Second place at the moment looks to be the right way to go. Although, as I've said that, he's come in the pits. That's why his time was going up a bit there. He's came in the pits. I thought he'd had a moment as I was saying that, because I just saw the gap increase. But no, he's into the pit lane then. So G had a little snap then coming through the left-hander, and I was saying just as he went into turn 1 last lap, can he catch Gary with the time left in this race? Keep snapping the car like that, and the answer's going to be no.
No, indeed. So he's got 11 seconds to make up. Gary's driving nicely. His last lap's a 1:45, as you can see on your timing screens. He's the only man in the 1:45s around that last lap. So Gary's going on really nicely. I think G's going to have to work really hard in the case of 9 laps to catch it back, really, isn't it? You know, it's a big deficit.
It is a big deficit, as well as the pit stops as well, don't forget.
As we see, Dan's taking his pit stop. We haven't talked much about Dan this evening. Probably my favourite driver on the grid. I say probably. He's all right. He's all right at times.
He's not bad, is he? He's not
a bad lad, is he? Do you know what I mean? So he's done his pit stop, as you can see, as he comes out into that tricky pit lane. And back onto the track. Who have we not been on board with today? I do like to try and... we've been on Peaceful.
Not seen much of AH and D Biggs today, I don't believe, or Welshie Phil as well. Yeah. So we're on board with Welshie at the moment. Let's stay with Welshie. See there in his Lamborghini, and I got the liveries wrong for them last week. On the left-hand side of Chris's car, the side that you can see on screen will be yellow, and on Deeks it'll be red. I think you've just caught a button there that's taken the timing screens off my screen at the moment.
Oh, okay.
I think that might be triangle.
All right, you talk, I'll work on it.
So as we can see then, Welshie coming into the bus stop chicane, his teammate Deeks, a lap down lets him through, and I do believe that this week Deeks has dropped, Welshie's gone back onto the pad as he's having problems with his wheel at the moment. not sort of working for him, so he's back on the pad. I'm surprised he's in race 1, as normally when he's on the pad he tends to drop it a few times. There we go, we have the timing screens.
That's the one, isn't it?
Yeah, that's the one. We got the timing screens back on the screen there. So Welshie put a lap on his teammate Deeks, and the only G at the moment, 12 seconds off of the back of Gary, so he's lost a bit more time to Gary, and Jamie's still only 2 seconds behind G. Where did Andy come out? Andy came out P7, so just ahead of Welshie on circuit. I say just ahead, 9 seconds up the road, so not a bad pit stop for Andy down in P7 at the moment. D Biggs doing another good job up in P4 so far, with Phil just behind him in 5th. As AH, D Biggs' teammate, comes into the pitch. Yeah, D Biggs and Phil doing a cracking job. Phil 4 seconds off the back of him. D Biggs had a great race last weekend. Last Thursday.
Jamie's got in front of G again.
Oh, has G had another problem?
Yeah, I don't know. I was about to flick over. They were close again. I was about to flick over, and then I saw Jamie get in front. I don't know what happened. If G had another moment or not, but.
That is a strange one then, because G just keeps seeming to lose a bit of time to Gary here over these races, and he's just losing a lot of
and also
this fight's not going to help
enough, Andy got in front of Fury, and then Fury got back in front of Andy. So again, I don't know quite what happened there. I don't know if Andy had a moment or what. So we'll take you back on with G as he's going side by side round the outside of Jamie Brazier.
Done him, look. Nice.
There you go.
Easy.
Look, so much power. It must be twitchy in the infield is where G's having problems.
Well, there you go. Look, his last lap was a 48.6. Oh, into turn 1, he's a bit deep again. He's G 48.6 last time round for the only G then, and a 47.4 for Jamie Brazier. So that shows the difference. G obviously made a mistake somewhere last time out.
This is all making good news for Gary. Gary can just be comfortable and very wide again. G on the exit. I know you can take a bit of that, but that was an awful lot he took there. He had a really greedy bite of it, to be fair. As somebody's twitching all over the place.
Yeah, that was a laggy Porsche. That's the Porsche in front, the shake and bake car. I do believe that's AH, who's down in P11 at the moment. As you see us ride on board with Jamie Brazier. Now, Jamie not been able to close up to G as much as he'd have liked. He'd have probably wanted to get past, because he's going to really lose out to G coming on. Look at how he gets. I love that camera angle, because you see there just how much Jamie closed under the brakes. But he's going to be a city duck here. G is going to go. Just as we speak of Jamie, his girlfriend's in the chat. Come on, Jamie, with a massive love out. She's also at every single one of Jamie's races. I was saying earlier about D Biggs. Great race last Thursday. Took a 3rd and a 5th, and AH's teammate took a 3rd and a 4th. So good points for Emo Guy. That's Emo Guy who's hit the wall, I do believe. He's span in front of G and has collected G. Oh dear. G's retired.
Shocker.
G's retired.
He's retired. Smashed it right up. That's it. He's out. He's probably not a happy bunny, to be fair. And not an awful lot of that left either.
No, definitely not an awful lot of that left. G then retiring from the race. What happened there? Emo Guy spinning in front of him. That you couldn't make up. And it was a strange place to have a spin on the middle of the straight.
Yeah. Very bizarre there. Very bizarre indeed. And
the more important thing is G didn't get to lap 13, so therefore will score no points as not completing the 3/4 distance.
Yes, indeed. I wouldn't want to be in a party with G right now. It's probably not a very happy bunny. Unfortunately, we didn't see how it started, but he was certainly coming round to lap Ian. I don't know. Let's say we don't know what happened. We didn't see it on board. So as Fury's keeping Andy very honest as Andy goes wide again.
And this is a surprise for me.
Since he's been out of the pits, and Fury's been past him a couple of times. He's definitely keeping Andy honest.
Yeah, and this is a surprise for me, Kelly, because we commented on the Porsches in qualifying, saying that they just on the Ferraris in qualifying, saying that they just don't look like they've got a lot. But yet, Fury's keeping with Andy and like you say, keeping him honest.
Yes, indeed. And I mean, down in the other Ferrari is a couple of places down, and quite a lot of time, maybe 20 seconds or so, whatever it is, back behind Fury. But certainly, I just Fury, as I said, keeping Andy very, very honest. I don't know if Andy's struggling and or whatever, or Fury's just driving his socks off. I don't know. But he's certainly right there with him.
Either way.
Andy was very much a front runner in this race.
He was. That's not going to help Andy if he was hoping to catch Gary in the pit stop when Gary does his pit stop or anything. But that's possibly brought Jamie Brazier back into this race then. Just spoke to G. Just asked G. No idea. It looked like he turned into the wall and spun. So maybe Emo Guy's just got. I know sometimes with project cars, it can kind of be a bit buggy where it'll suck you into the wall if you're too close to it. So I'm wondering if that's what's happened. If it's just sucked him into the wall, and obviously that's then what happened. So obviously then having a spin and catching G up in that one, obviously. Well, I mean, what can you say? It's not what G would have wanted. Obviously, he's going to lose massive points to Gary here.
Yes, indeed, and Gary driving a very solid race, as we see his teammate and brother a lap down.
Yeah.
And he'd just been lapped by his brother. So Little Leak's not having the same kind of success as his bigger brother, who's 18 seconds now in front of Big Boy Brazier, who's really in that kind of. What's he got? 3 seconds ahead of D Biggs, who's going along quite nicely. We haven't talked much about him, but he's having a solid race, as you can see, because he's there in the 3rd place in the 146s last lap. So he's going on quite nicely. Phil, also another one we haven't really spoken about too much in the Lambo is going on quite nicely in 4th as well. Now 30 seconds off the lead there, but solid nevertheless. Andy seems to have gapped Fury a little bit. I know Fury's just pitted.
Fury's just pitted.
He just pitted. That'd be why. That'd be why indeed. So he's done his pit. All a little bit static in the closing stages in the last 5 laps. Just having a look through the comments while we're here. All the Fury massive. Great to see you guys. And as you say, Jamie's girlfriend. And would that be your other half there?
That is my wife.
Bethany?
Yep, that is my wife. Who's a massive Gary fan.
Massive Gary fan. Who wouldn't be? You know, why
I think she's more a fan of Gary than she is of her own husband at times, you know.
Well, that's kind of. I think that's territory we need to leave alone there, Matt. You know, yes, indeed. And good to see all these guys. I mean, my Mrs. Haley, she's sitting next to me, and she watched all the races keenly. She doesn't comment, but because I do enough talking for the both of us, to be fair. She's shaking her head quite and agreeing with that one. But it's where are we? Quick! Oh, look at this! So we've got Welshie and Dan going at it. And very much going at it. Steady boys.
Yeah, easy. Oh, Dan, that's a flash of no, that's a flash of and Welshie, look, I think has realised that he's done a bit wrong. He's let him back through. But that was the difference with the Lamborghini and the Ferrari that we spoke about. Yeah. We said how Fury was doing so well to keep with Andy, and there's the total opposite. Dan in his Ferrari just couldn't. Welshie just looked like he had the power to pull alongside and go past. Obviously, they had a bit of a touch, and Welshie's gave Dan the place back. Obviously, we know what happened to Dan the other week when Dan let Keegs have the place back. He went straight on at Nürburgring because his tyres were too cold. But, Welshie giving Dan the place back there. And just basing off that fact of the last part of the oval, I wouldn't think it'd take Welshie long, as you can see, to gain on the back of Dan at the moment.
Well, let's stay on board for a minute, because there's not much else, not too many other battles on track at the moment. So let's just stay on board with Welsh and see if he can reel Dan in. We know that Dan's no slouch, and he knows how to drive the car. He's flashing his lights
he's listening.
In front. I think that was kind of to us, because we're talking about him. Yeah. All right, Dan.
While you are there, Dan, Tier 2 runner-up, just thought I'd put it in there.
LMP2 champion. LMP who champion.
LMP who.
He's our Dan. But as you can see, I mean, it's kind of even Stevens through the infield. What I'm interested to see here, as Phil goes into the pits, what I'm interested to see here is if the Lambo gets traction off this corner and reels in the Ferrari along along the oval section, is what I'm interested to see.
Let's take a look now. As you see, Dan did brilliantly through the infield. D Biggs has got back ahead of Phil. D Biggs has pitted and came out ahead of Andy. So Andy's lost that much time battling with Fury that D Biggs has jumped him in the pits, and that Lamborghini didn't seem to get. In fact, Phil has also came out the pits ahead of Andy. That Lamborghini didn't seem to gain on unorthodox like it would suggest last lap.
Yeah, maybe he needs to be a bit closer in the slip. Those of you who follow Formula One, I believe the slipstream can be as effective as 2 seconds back.
Yeah.
But in these kind of GTE cars, I don't know if that would be quite so. Quite such the case, because he doesn't seem to be reeling them in now, does he?
No, I'm just looking at the time. I'm just looking at the time at the top of the screen, and he's pulled 2/10 before Danny at the braking zone. He pulled 2/10, just over 2/10 since the bus stop chicane, and it wasn't. I mean, 2/10 is not massive. It's going to take a while to reel him in. As you see there, Phil's came out the pits ahead of Andy, so Andy has lost a lot of time behind Fury, down in P5 now. So that's really hurt him in terms of the race win. Who's left to pit? Gary and Jamie Brazier. So the two leaders left to pit, and I think they'll. I believe Gary will pit and come out in the lead. As Big Boy Brazier pits now, so he'll easily pit for. Where will Jamie come out? This is the interesting one.
He should come out in front of D-Biggs, shouldn't he? Really? Because he was... Was he in front? Yeah, he was in front.
No, he was in front, yeah, as he goes now. Yeah. So where's D-Biggs?
Yeah, we'll see.
Is that D-Biggs coming around now? Well, D-Biggs is coming on to... That's pit entry. The white line there is pit entry that you see on your screen. Jamie's still in the pits. And here comes D-Biggs. Over the timing screens now... Is that D-Biggs gone past? Yeah, D-Biggs has passed him. D-Biggs has done him round turn 1, so D-Biggs up into second place. Well, I don't know. Let's see where Jamie.
No, he has.
No, he's done. He's done him clearly done him.
Yeah.
So great pit stop. D-Biggs getting the undercut on Jamie Brazier, working an absolute treat. I don't think he's going to get it on Gary somehow. 51 seconds seems a bit much. But D-Biggs, after the back of a good Snetterton, a third and a fifth, after not racing the first race of the season, as the session wouldn't let him in for some reason, we don't know why, he took a 6th, 3rd and a 5th place, and he looks set for another podium in this one. Good consistent driving, and with a championship leader not scoring points, it's driving you need to do to reel in that championship leader.
Yes, indeed. So good strategy, and see how well the Porsches are going. Porsche 1 and 2 now. We were saying, well, maybe the Porsche and all that, but seems to be in the right hands. It seems to be going forward. That's for certain, sure.
It does, as Gary, the race leader, pits, which means everybody on circuit has pitted then well before the end. Now, is this him coming out the pits?
I would hope. I'd like to hope so.
Unless his pit box is at the very bottom, I'd imagine it is, isn't it? Yeah, he's coming out the pit lane now. So Gary's he could put it in cruise control if he really wanted to. He's that far in front.
He could stop, have a cup of tea, and ice bun, and quick
sign a few autographs for the fans while he's there.
Right. Yeah, and have a chit chat to the rubbish mechanics, and still get out in front of D-Biggs on this one, as you can see comfortably. Yes, with once the timing screen works itself out, there we go, 21 seconds, and he's got 2 laps to go. So I would say Gary's is never say never. And
do you know the thing is, right, is he sat there today, and I spoke to him earlier, and he's, I can't see anybody but G winning. In dry conditions, G looks brilliant. In wet conditions, the Porsche handles like a dream. The weather forecast suggests dry all night. Obviously the weather is a weird and wonderful thing, and anything can happen, but it suggests dry all night. It says it's dry all night.
We are in Florida.
We are, yeah, exactly. Gary would have dreamed for this. I mean, not G not finishing, so obviously you don't wish that on any opponent, but he was
Andy's on the grass.
Yeah, Andy is on the grass. And Orthodubs and Welshie have got past him. He's got bad damage on that car.
Very bad damage.
Yeah, he's got something wrong with that. Little Leach. There's a Porsche and Little Leach and Deeks had a bit of a tap there. Little Leach has got past Deeks. That Lamborghini of Deeks looks like it's struggling. Yeah, I was like Gary was saying, you don't wish ill of your competitors, but he always thought G would have the better of him in the dry over the wet. Gary here was like 15 seconds ahead of G before the pit stop, so Gary will be laughing at this race at the moment. It's gone his way.
Yes, indeed. And now we're all, I say, into the last stages. I mean, look at where Dan's ended up. Dan
look at
Fury.
Just as we go on to Fury, he's had a bit of a spin. He's got 7 seconds back to Dan, so he should recover that one and keep his spot. There is Dan in the background, and then you'll see Welshie not far behind Dan. That's interesting, looking at that shot there of Fury with Dan and Welshie in the background. Welshie still doesn't look like he's quite caught up to the back of Dan. There's Dan, there's Welshie, look. Looks like the gap's pretty much similar. 1.92 seconds looks a very similar gap.
Yeah, it does. I don't know when they were going door handle to door handle. I don't know if one of them if Daniel had made a mistake and Welsh had got on the back of him or what. We don't know. But just looking at Daniel started at the back and had a couple of had a nasty spin there. Or got involved in something, didn't he, early doors, which put him back again. He's now running in 6th place. I mean, he's a minute off the lead, but he is in 6th place.
I'm not sure if that's Gary just behind this two, about to lap them. But he's done brilliant in that Ferrari.
Yeah, absolutely. And, never give up.
No.
Because you don't know how the race is ever going to pan out. As we're on the last lap with Gary, aren't we?
We are. He's coming
up
towards the bus stop chicane now. So just really this tricky section to get right, and then it's home and dry for Gary. And what a race he's had. He's not put a foot wrong. Nice and easy through the bus stop chicane as we go on board with him. He's going to take a blinding win here. He'll be absolutely chuffed with that one. What a job he has done. Not what it worked out for his teammate, but Gary 131 took the second race win at Nürburgring, second place at round one at the third round at Snetterton, but he's flashing already, and he's going to take an absolutely blinding win tonight. His main title rival not scoring points, Gary 131, will take the race win here at Simplay Motorsport. D Biggs, great job of jumping Jamie Brazier in the pits in this race. Looks set for a second place in this race. And here he is.
Yeah, I didn't have to rush to get on board with D Biggs, because he did have 20 plus seconds behind Gary. So as I said, D Biggs is going to come across the line. Flash of lights, good result, good strategy, nice work. Jamie Brazier he'll be happy with a third, wouldn't he? He'll be over the moon. Satisfied with that.
After not finishing any race last week, he'll be over the moon with a third place, no doubt. Phil going to take a good P4 for himself, because he seemed down there earlier in the race, but like Unorthodox and Fury, interesting enough, Unorthodox has got past Fury.
He has, and there's only a second between them. So and Fury making his own line out of that corner. So Dan up into 5th. I think Dan will probably be quite happy with the end of that race. Fury at flash of lights from Fury, and synchronised light flashing from the Ferrari FU racing team. Look at that, isn't it? Eh? Lovely the way they finished that race. Looks, Formation Media, the team boss, will be very happy.
Will be very happy. Welshie just behind, finishing P7. That's Little H, who's finished a lap down in P12. Not the night for him so far.
Yeah. Peaceful Explosion. A little bit of a shame about Peaceful. He was running so well in qualifying. Ended up 8th, so he's had his fair share of dramas for sure. Keegs there in 9th. These guys are all finished. We're all done. There we go.
Yeah, Keegs in 9th. I noticed that Andy actually finished P11 behind AH as well, so it all went horribly wrong for Andy at the back end of that one. He will be able to qualify for race 2. Obviously 15 drivers, so the top 7 cannot qualify in this race, but there's the bottom half of the field. Little Each getting 12th. Deeks claiming 13th place, and Emo Guy finishing P14. Obviously a few pit stops early doors due to dramas, and not the way he'd have wanted to go.
Yes, indeed. Some nice comments coming through on the stream. A lot of love for Gary. Well done, Gary, from Monkey Boy. Well done, Gary, from Jamie Brazier. Flashy from Fury's mum. We'll answer this question: Is it top 7 not qualifying because only 14 runners? Question mark.
So the top 7 aren't qualifying because it's 15 and 14 runners, because you can't have 15 without it being a points 7.5 or whatever. So for 15 and 14 runners, the top 7 do not qualify for the next race. So even though G retired from the race, the top 7 won't qualify even if G'd have finished the race. So that is that one. We're going to take a very short break. Make sure you stay tuned and stay here with us. Hit that thumbs up button on the video. 24 people watching, 16 likes. Let's get this video to 20 likes before we come back for part 2 of this race. Don't you go anywhere. We'll be back in just a moment.
You're the night sky trying to make me see your stars, but the dark gets lonely. Now I see violet, I can the silence. In the dark's all that I see. When your stars are burnt out and your heart makes no sound, I'll find valid in your eyes. You'll always be my night sky.
I just realized I've built walls a mile high to protect my heart, but now I'm all alone, stuck on the inside. The heart doesn't need a castle, it needs a bridge. Been so scared that I'd unravel. Brick by brick, I built these walls. Now I know that I am strong. Just watch me tear them down. I'm gonna tear them down. If it couldn't break your heart, is it really love? If it can't tear you apart, is it really love? Just watch me march towards the battle. I'm gonna tear down this castle. I'm gonna tear down this castle.
I'm gonna tear down this car.
Watch me march. If it couldn't break your heart, is it really love? If it can't tear you apart, is it really love? If it couldn't break your heart, is it really love? If it can't tear you apart, is it really love? I criticized myself for trusting lies. I know I can't hide, 'cause then I'd be alone, stuck on the inside. The heart doesn't need a castle, it needs a bridge. Been so scared that I'd unravel. Brick by brick, I built these walls. Now I know that I'm enough. Just watch me tear them down. I'm gonna tear them down. If it couldn't break your heart, is it really love? If it can't tear you apart, is it really love? Just watch me march towards the battle. I'm gonna tear down this castle. I'm gonna tear down this castle.
I'm gonna tear down this car.
Watch me march. If it couldn't break your heart, is it really love? If it can't tear you apart, is it really love? If it couldn't break your heart, is it really love? If it can't tear you apart, is it really love?
Play a slow song. I'ma turn it up and then I'm gonna take it down. I'ma turn it up and then I'm gonna take it down. I'ma turn it up and then I'm gonna take it down. Play a slow song. I'ma turn it up and then I'm gonna take it down. I'ma turn it up and then I'm gonna take it down. I'ma turn it up and then I'm gonna 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 take it down.
can hear us now. Welcome back then, ladies and gentlemen, to Simplay Motorsport for the second race of the season, of the night, should I say, round 6. After Gary 131 takes a victory and the fastest lap in the last race, he's joined us in the commentary box with Phil and Big Boy Brazy. Obviously, Phil not on the podium, but D-Biggs doesn't have a mic, so we thought we'd get Phil in. Phil, P4 for you. Good opening race. Good opening start to the night.
Yeah, I definitely took that at the start of the night. Like, no shame in finishing behind the 3 lads on the podium.
No, you obviously running on your own as well. We know such apex, so it must be a bit calmer in your party. You must be able to concentrate a little bit more.
Well, someone's got to be a graft keeping the wheels of industry turning.
Yeah, how was that race one for you though, mate?
Yeah, it was good. Just avoiding the carnage at the start. First couple of laps were a bit dicey, but after that, just kept out of trouble. And to be honest, anywhere in the top 6, I'd have been happy with finishing there. So yeah, I wasn't going to push and ruin it. I knew I was keeping the gap to Fury, so I was just happy doing what I was doing.
Well, you must have been took by surprise when you come out the pits ahead of Andy and jumped him in the pit lane, and then you said off air, you come next minute, you come round to lap him.
Yeah, I just got out in front of him after my pit stop. Managed to jump him, and yeah, next thing, heading onto the banking, the second section, I was coming up to lap him. So yeah, I was a bit surprised at that. Like.
Well, best of luck for race 2. What's your plans for the second race? Obviously, qualifying by the back.
Just wait and see what happens, to be honest with you, Matt. Same again. If I get into the top 6 and finish there, I'll be happy with that.
Well, best luck, mate, going into race 2.
Hey, cheers, lads.
Cheers, buddy. Jamie, P3 for yourself. D-Biggs managed to jump you in the pits. You just didn't seem to have quite enough to gain on him and put pressure on him at the end.
No, that race was quite painful for me and Keeks, because round the banking we just had absolutely no speed whatsoever.
Well, I was going to say, we was on board you quite a lot. G seemed to just get past you so easy on the banking, but on the infield you seem to keep with G quite well.
Yeah, see, with the setup that we have, it's through no fault of mine or Keeks. It's just more tailored to the infield, and say when we got into the race, we just found out that we just had no speed at all around the banking.
Well, you have to, I guess you have to make compromises, don't you, Jamie? You have to decide what's best, is top speed or infield. I mean, at the end of the day, it panned out quite well for you, didn't it? Because the results show that. And as I said, G seemed to just have the legs on you on the banking. But yeah, I mean, the Lamborghini, I mean, generally, is a nice car to drive. I don't think I've driven it myself. Is it nice?
Yeah, it's fairly nice. Keek says it's quite tail happy, and it is. But sometimes that's better. Like.
Yeah. Absolutely. Well, makes up for Snetterton last week, doesn't it?
I wasn't going to bring that one up, but glad someone.
Well,
if I'd come in last, that would have made up for Snetterton.
What was going through your mind when G all of a sudden got hit by Emo Guy? You was right behind that. You're lucky not to have got caught up in that incident.
I have no clue what Emo Guy was doing there. He was, smashed into the barrier, again, and just come across the front of G. And I was so lucky to avoid that. But yeah, I don't know what he was thinking.
Yeah. Well, best of luck for race 2. What's your plans going forward?
Just try and pick them off where I can, and at the minute, Keeks is trying to find a setup with a bit more straight line speed. Well,
best of luck, mate, for that one.
Yep. Yes, best of luck, Jamie.
Thank you.
We're joined now by the race winner, and Gary. I said in commentary earlier, and we was talking about it before. You said if it's dry, I've got no chance against G. I've got absolutely no chance. Before G retired, he was 15 seconds up the road from him.
Yeah, it weren't just G. All the boys are quick. I think it's just confidence for the track, really. I just didn't feel that the Porsche had it, but clearly it has.
Well, obviously we've seen last night with Liam Gamer and Rabbit Joe, they seem to have the pace in the Porsche. You've shown pace in the Porsche. You did, I say you did 24 hour, bar the AI being in the car. You didn't because of your wheel cutting out. you know this track like the back of your hand, really. So is that to your advantage tonight?
No, it seems a total different race. The track seems totally different. It's handling totally different. Yeah, I don't know really. Seems better.
Yeah, I mean, Gary, it looked like it looked like a comfortable win, to be honest. It looked like you kind of got yourself into a groove and just kind of stuck with it and counting down the laps. You weren't really under pressure that much throughout the race, were you?
No, which helped me, to be fair, because I was easing off a little bit at the bus stop, which I seem to be struggling with in the Porsche, to be fair. But like I said, if I can get a gap and take it a little bit easier, it makes the job a little bit easier as well.
What's your plans going forward for race 2 from the back of the grid, mate?
Where are we on the grid? We are.
Well, you're currently P8, but you should be starting mid-pack, really.
Yeah, well, we'll see. Well, like I said, the outside run here on the roll and start seemed to get a better launch as well, as we found out in the first one, because Andy just shot off and luckily he went wide on the first corner and I managed to sneak through. But yeah, we'll just see how it pans out and see what we can do.
You've been saying all week that there's a 43 in this car, and I just want to say, G's done a 43.9. That is a quick, big qualifying time. The guy's got time to make up here because he didn't score points. Leading the championship now, obviously, before the drop scores get worked out. So things going in your favour at the moment?
No, I don't think so. G on pole in this one. That's going to be waving him goodbye and probably seeing him come past me at some point.
Well, we'll let you get ready for race 2, mate. Best of luck.
Cheers,
Best of luck, Gary.
Cheers, mate.
Everybody there, then Kelly seems pretty happy with what they did in race 1.
Well, yeah, and so they should be. If I was in the top 4 of that race, I would have been very happy as well, to be fair, Matt. So yeah, you know, going to be interesting the next race, isn't it? As you say, G's on pole. He's got he's on pole. He's fastest at the moment. Got the bit between his teeth with the 1:43.9. If he gets up and away on his own, he could just do exactly what Gary's just done in the next race and just get into a groove and pull away. You know, and that's quite feasible, I think.
Indeed, he could. Just want to draw your attention to the championship standings to fill you in on what I was saying a moment ago. Gary has taken the championship lead, albeit by 5 points, but it's a championship lead at this stage nonetheless. Obviously, the drop scores will be counted out after when the tables get released on the page. Anyway, but they're also tied with Forever Forward Racing in the constructors, or Leach Motorsport and Forever Forward Racing. So a good constructors points for them both. With G obviously dropping them scores, it's meant that Leach Motorsport are sort of back in there, as well as Iron Brew Racing of Jamie and Keegs and Shake and Bake of AH and D Biggs. They're all within 10 points of each other.
So all to play for. How many rounds have we got left, Matt?
Oh, long way to go still. 11 circuits, so 22 rounds. Right. This is round 5 and 6. So, still early days. There is 442 points up 442 points up for grabs in the drivers and 782 points in the constructors at the moment. Still left to play for, so long way to go in this one. Yet one man who is in the comments who's meant to be working, Sutty's now dropped to the bottom of the table.
Isn't he? Yeah, I mean, talk about working. He seems to be commenting. Well, he's doing more talking than we are.
He is. Yeah, no, he is. I've just looked at the comments. I've seen more Sutty Apex comments than anybody else at the moment.
Absolutely, I'm absolutely flat out. He is grafting, apparently. Yeah, well, that's if that's grafting, well, yeah, there you go.
Phil, I need your supervisor's number here, mate. I'm gonna have to dob Sutty in it, I reckon.
Yeah, dob him in.
So, just back to qualifying then, with 36 seconds remaining. Deone G on pole, a tenth ahead of his teammate. Could we have a front row lockout for the Forever Forward Racing boys? Peaceful looked quick in qualifying 1, but couldn't put it together in the race. Andy P3. Little Leach, who you're on board with at the moment, looks like he'll get to the line and get another lap in, as he's got 20 seconds left. Yeah, easily. Look, can he improve? No, but he's within within a second of G, so not a lot of time to make up, and he'll find himself in front of Andy. Emo Guy is in P5, Keegs in 6th, AH 7th, Deeks is 8th, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 cannot qualify at the bottom of your screens. Unorthodox again will start on the back row of the grid. Twice in this race, and obviously the bottom half is just completely randomly generated, isn't it, for this one?
So you tell me, Matt.
Yeah,
you're quite right. So Unorthodox, Daniel, and Big Boy Brazier, Jamie, have got a lot of work to do. Indeed, but as we saw in race 1, anything can happen. Daniel started at the back of the grid last time, so anything can happen, as I said. So wait and see. But is anybody else still on a lap? Peaceful looks like he's still going at it. So let's see if he can improve.
Yeah, he only needs a small amount as well, doesn't he, at the moment? He only needs that 2/10, or just under 2/10.
Yes, indeed. They can be the hardest 2/10 to find, mind.
If you just listen there, you hear the purr of Peaceful's Mercedes. I think not far behind him is the purr of G's Mercedes. I think, yeah, there he is. So yes, G seems the beneficiary of a bit of slipstream here, maybe.
Yes, indeed. And we'll see if these boys are still on a lap. By looks at G, a bit squirrely out of the bus stop. So we'll see if that spoils his time. But Peaceful's coming round the last bank in, so he'll be onto the straight. G will be wanting to stay in his slip, and we'll see if either of them improve.
Indeed, we will. Is Peaceful helping his team out? Peaceful's flashing to the lights. Is that a good thing? We'll never know. We'll never know.
Neither of them improved, I don't think.
G improved massively.
They both did. No, they both did. Look, both in the 42s. Look, wow.
Yeah, great lap there from G on pole position. Obviously, no one really challenging him, but front row lockout for Forever Forward Racing then, with G and Peaceful on the front row of the grid. Andy will take a P3, and that's not too bad. P3, P2 and 2 P1s in his last 4 qualifyings. He will be happy with that. He's just got to convert it in the race. Little Each P4. Can he have a better start to this one with Emo Guy down in 5th, then Keeg 6th, Deeks 7th, and AH down in 8th. Just can't seem to get it together on this track tonight, can AH. And then obviously the randomised grid order for Fury P9. Race 1 winner Gary P10 with Welshie 11th, Phil down in 12th, D Biggs in 3rd, the second place man. On Orthodox P14, sorry, D Biggs down in 13th, not 3rd. An Orthodox P14 and Big Boy Brazier brings up the final part of the grid. So all to play for at the moment.
Indeed, you got to feel for Peaceful, because he must have come over the line just in front of G in the 42s, and gone, wow, there we go, I'm on pole, and then a split second later,
G's just gone and smashed it.
Yeah, it's like the Hamilton effect, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, oh look, I'm on pole, no, I'm not.
Yeah.
So you got to feel for Peaceful on that one. He had it in his grasp, and then along comes G. Really,
had that window of opportunity that didn't seem to come.
Yes, indeed. But both in the 42s, so these Mercs could get up and go. I say it's feeling like Formula One, isn't it? 2 Mercs on the front row, and two Mercs are the quickest 2 cars on the track. So, yeah.
Do you know what? I was just thinking the same thing. And the gap they had over the rest of the field was very Mercedes dominant as well.
Yeah, and I hate to say that, because I'm done with Mercedes dominance. Although I'm looking forward to a Mercedes engine in the back of McLaren for the new season of Formula One. But let's not get distracted into Formula One chit-chat just yet.
No, while we do wait for the drivers to ready up, though, have you seen Sebastian Vettel recently?
Yeah, he looks like poor lad's losing his hair. I noticed he was receding in the last couple of years, but it seems to be his haircut that he's had now. It just seems to be, seems to really be showing that he's receding something rotten. Bless him.
It does. I know
the feeling, because I've been having the same trouble for the past 30 years. So,
I'm terrible. I'm the same, but this is why I won't get my haircut too short, because if I do, I'll look like Patel, to be fair.
I go the other way. And cut my hair really short. So to compensate for it. And looks like we're underway.
It does, though. They're going to get rolling for just a little bit. You'll hear the lights, or the sound of the lights, come on in just a moment, and then they'll be away just before the line. And we're underway then for race 2. Gary said watch for the outside line. It seems to be a bit of a quicker line on the start, so we'll have to see if that is the case. It doesn't look to be at the moment, because G and Peaceful have just pulled off in unison. And Peace was able to just tuck up the back of G, and Andy's going to try and launch one up the inside. And I think he's got that job done on Peaceful.
Yeah, I don't know if Andy and Peaceful had a bit of a tap, but Peaceful's going backwards now. He's going backwards down through the field a little bit. I don't know, say if he touched with Andy in turn 1, but G's up and away, and Andy up into 2nd, Little Leach in 3rd.
Yeah,
and Peaceful's gone back. Yes, indeed, all reasonably well behaved in the first part of the lap, although...
Peaceful, a bit wide, taps aside a Little Leach, and look who's come through the middle of them all, it's Keegs. Keegs, Emo Guy and Little Leach. Is this round 2? we're about to see here, although Gary's up into 5th place, so he's got past his brother. That's one of the DW Motorsport Lamborghinis in the background. Peaceful's down to 14th. Oh, he's had a big off.
At the back.
Oh,
and
dear.
Deans is back there as well.
Yeah, oh dear, what happened then at that corner?
Look at Gary. Look, up into 4th and going round the outside of Keegs at the moment.
Yeah, trying to. Good start. He said he needed a good start. He's done brilliantly at the moment. Good move into the bus stop. Little Leaks looked like he tried to follow Gary but couldn't get that one done. Gary. Oh, bit of a wiggle
Gary
here.
lost his back end, took a load of grass there. I wonder if he'll get a slowdown for that one. Although he doesn't look like he's slowing down, does he?
Well, the track limits are off for the pro lads, so it's their prerogative to slow down.
Oh, I see. Right, okay, yeah. As we're on board with D Biggs, and these guys all still in quite close company, being it is only lap 2, so yes, they would be. But the G's already gapped 2.5 seconds.
Oh, Craig! Oh, Craig, very wide. And who's that? That's D Biggs, who's had a spin. Oh, D Biggs has been hit. He's had a spin. He's been hit, and I think that was Big Boy Brazier that's caught him. I think Fury got away with that one. And Orthodubs is up into 6th place from the back of the grid as well. So I think Fury may have been involved in a bit of a shunt there on D Biggs as he was obviously sliding wide. Jamie then caught the side of D Biggs. Was Fury and Big Boy Brazier side by side, and that's maybe why Big Boy Brazier has caught the side of D Biggs. But you're right, geez, 2.9, 3 seconds now up the road from Andy. He has gone, checked out early. Gary chasing Andy this time instead of Andy chasing him.
Yes, indeed, and this is good news for Gary. Although, as you say, G's checked out. But Gary's up into 3rd, and that's points for the championship. You don't need to win them all to win the championship. You just need to be consistent. Be a Colin Turkington or a Fernando Alonso, and be consistent with your racing. And that's exactly what Gary's doing. Although Gary is right beside Andy now as they come down into the chicane.
Oh wow!
And Andy has to yield.
Ran the outside.
Yes, and Gary goes up into 2nd place, and now he can set about getting after G. Even if he tucks in behind him, it'll be a net gain over the whole evening on points.
Yeah, it really will. Yeah, really will. And Andy just looked like a sitting duck coming into that bus stop chicane. We'll see if he can keep Gary in the slipstream. Oh, look at the difference in the speed.
But look at the power of the Lambo. Look, he's dragged him back in.
He's done brilliant at the moment. He's not dragged him back. He kind of did drag him back in, and then he's not seemed to just... That momentum's just seemed to fall away, hasn't it? He seemed to really reel him in, and then it just sort of stopped.
Run out of puff, didn't it? Like the Lamborghini just run out of...
As if it just hit the top speed, and that was it. Big Boy Brazier in the pit. So has he got damage then? We saw him... We think he hit the side of D Biggs, and they're both in the pit. So is that big damage? Excuse me for both of them too.
D Biggs is looks like he's got a snub-nosed Porsche. He's redesigned the front end somewhat, bouncing it off off somebody. Look at Peaceful back into 8th. Lap 3. He was at the back of the grid, remember, 3 laps ago.
Yeah, well, this Mercedes has got pace. We've seen it's got pace in both their qualifying times. Peaceful has just been unlucky in both races. We didn't see what quite happened as to why he dropped so far down the order on the first lap, but he's making good progress.
I think he got tagged and spun round in the 2nd or 3rd corner there, so I think that's what happened to him. But keep an eye on Peaceful. He's up into 7th now. He's just done Fury, and now he's looking upon on Dan, who's a couple of seconds up the road.
But if we know the difference,
keep an eye on Peaceful.
Indeed, if we know the difference between the Mercedes and the Ferraris, that Mercedes should, unlike what we said with Walsh and Dan in the first race, that Mercedes should pull on that Ferrari. In fact, look at the difference in the closing speed now.
Yes, indeed. Look at the closing speed on that. He's made up from when I mentioned 2 seconds ago. He's now made up that time, and look at it. Dragging that Ferrari in.
It's just going into that time's just being.
You're listening to the stream, Dan. He's right behind you.
Right behind you. He'll be right in front of you in a moment.
Right behind you. Look at that as he drags that Ferrari in. And Dan's a sitting duck.
Yeah, Dan goes to the inside to try and defend the, I'd say, lower part of the oval. But look, it's just gone. Yeah,
that's some quick car. Oh, he's got that set up beautifully.
That is a beautifully quick car at the moment, pulling like a dream, should I say, down that oval section. This might be where Dan has a chance, though, in his Ferrari in the infield. Let's have a look here and see if Dan can get anything done on Peaceful.
goes out wide. He's going to try and tuck back to the inside of that corner.
Do you know one thing I love watching Dan?
Maybe he's not.
When I watch
Sorry?
him, do you know one thing I love about watching Dan when I watch him following another car? Is he
What's
doesn't
that?
seem to pressure them too much.
No, Daniel is.
He's a very patient driver. He'll patiently sit and wait for a mistake, like Peaceful looks like he's made there. And there you just see Dan just looking up the inside, thinking, is that my opportunity? That's probably opportunity gone, because the minute they hit this oval, Peaceful's going to be gone, Dan. But, I say that. Dan. Yeah, Dan's finished.
Dan, that wasn't your fault.
No, he's finished the inevitable there. Peaceful was already round, and then Dan just gives him a tap to finish the job. I was going to say, you saw it twice there. Peaceful just loses the back end, and Dan's so patient that then he'll attack the car.
And that's really bizarre because, as I've mentioned with Daniel being a BMX racer, as Emo Guy gets past Daniel there, again, probably just on pace, just power. And to be fair, Daniel probably didn't have a good run out of that corner, so out of that last corner. And as they go really close together to the chicane, I don't know if Emo Guy just kind of lost it a little bit there, but Daniel caught back up on him. Just as I said, Daniel, I've mentioned a couple of times about Daniel being an ex-BMX racer, and BMX races are over in less than a minute. So you don't sit around looking and waiting for your opportunity or eyeing up your opponent. You do it. You see a gap, you go for it. Whereas car racing is very, very different.
It is indeed. G has a 6-second lead over Gary at the moment. He's done a 1:43.9 in the race pace. G is making up for lost time in race 1 here. He's really on it at the moment. Little each stick in Andy though, so he looks like he's having a better race too, Kelly.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, absolutely. And these Andy's not. Yeah, he's not super far away from Gary. He's keeping in touch with him, keeping him honest. Little Leach as well. These are all in reasonably close company. As I say, G's checked out. Andy's going to be on damage limitation now, but he's doing the very best job he can. When G's on it, he's formidable, and he's extremely difficult guy to catch.
And I can only assume that with G, I don't know if this is true, but it's like poking a tiger and provoking it. G's been provoked because he's not scored points in race 1, and now that Mercedes is a beast on its own, as we can see anyway. But they've unleashed the beast, and G's just gone.
It's almost like. Almost like G's got the bit between his teeth, and he's sat up and he's gone, right, okay, I'm going to pay attention to this one, right? He goes into another zone, and then just gets his head down and gets the hammer down and gets on with it. So I think Gary's going to have the very best. I mean, if the positions stay as they are, and we've got a long way to go yet, but if the positions stay as they are, Gary's going to get the very best out of this evening, really. A first and a second with G on one, I think is good news, to be fair.
As here comes Peaceful Explosion, who looks underneath Dan this time. And probably, I think the dropping off the oval onto the underbit is not the way you want to do. But that's how quick this Mercedes is. Peaceful's just struggling to pass Dan here. One thing I want to say is Hamilton spoke in the F1 season last year. When you're in that, he was in a zone in one race. I think it was Algarve, Portimao. Coincidentally, where we're at next week, believe it or not. And he was that far in front, I think he lapped Bottas, or was close enough to clapping Bottas. He says, I just got in that zone. And the zone that the drivers speak of, the rhythm is there, everything feels right. And as Peaceful's lost the car again. Oh dear. So he's got race pace, but he's struggling to put the laps together here. That is Welshie and Phil. Is he struggling to get the car back on track here? Welshie and Phil and AH are going to pass Peaceful Explosion now. So down to 12th place. Back to what I was saying is, when they're in that zone, in that little bubble, not the COVID bubble, but the bubble of being just on it, on the limit every lap, and everything just sinks. Everything, you're braking, you're accelerating, the turning, everything's bang on. There's not one little mistake, although they may make one little mistake here and there, but when they're in that zone, everything flows nicely.
Absolutely, and that zone being a calm place. Do you know what I mean? Being a place that isn't panicked, and they're not axling at the wheel. Everything's smooth and flowing, exactly the way you want it to. And I may have been in that zone in a one lap or maybe two. But the race cars drivers speak of it, don't they? And I remember Lewis saying about it. I remember him saying about being in this zone and whatever. But Yes, absolutely where you want to be. I think probably where G is at the moment and where Gary was in race 1.
Yeah, and possibly where Gary is race 2, because he's lapping a second quicker than Andy, half a second quicker than Little Each. Gary actually matched G last lap. He could be in the zone at the moment, but G's just... Because G managed to qualify on pole position, he's gone. Look where G is. G's coming round. This is the penultimate corner before the oval. So that's where G is. Gary, I believe, will be coming through the quick left-hander. Oh, he's actually just coming into that corner now, look, as Fury is in the pit, excuse me. Little Each being patient, waiting for Andy to make a mistake.
He's been on the back of Andy now for a couple of laps, and just biding his time, just being patient, waiting for Andy to make a mistake, and just biding his time, basically.
Yeah, just probably nice patient driving.
Yes, indeed, and a lot of the time, that's exactly what driving is about. It's calm, smooth, and slower to go faster.
Yeah,
isn't it?
You don't have to force the mistake. You just sometimes, still 11 laps left to go in this race. So Little Each hasn't got to force the issue at the moment. He can just take it nice and calm and just match Andy's pace, creep up on the back of him, wait for an opening, and this seems to be what Little Each is doing at the moment. Oh, dropped my notes there. Lovely.
Oh dear.
Yeah.
Oh dear. Steady on, Ted.
Got them back.
Just looking in the comments, Ariel said a 1:43.2. Yeah, what was that? Who did a 1:43?
That was G's qualifying time, I do believe.
That was G. Oh yeah, it's qualifying. Yeah. I actually think it was 1:42, wasn't it, in the end?
I'm not quite sure.
I thought it was. Yeah. Anyway, but nice to see you, Ariel. Thank you for commenting, guys. If you want to comment, please do. Whatever you want to comment about, if you want to talk about the sport trash, then please do so. Usually we end up talking touring car at some point. Although incidentally, I booked tickets for Thruxton this week.
Oh, that's brave. That's brave.
Yeah, I know it is. First round, which is
100 days away.
Sorry?
100 days. I saw a touring car tweet out today. 100 days today till the touring car starts. So 100 days until you'll be there.
Well, will
Hopefully.
I be there? That's the thing.
Touch wood.
That's the thing. I've got my doubts, to be fair, but my theory on it, and maybe the 15 people watching on the stream and those who are going to watch afterwards might get the same idea if I say it. But my theory being, if I bought my tickets now, I bought for me and Dan, and if I buy them now and they limit the numbers, then hopefully they'll they may cap the numbers at, say, I don't know 5,000 or whatever. If it's cap numbers, then hopefully I'm in. So that's my theory. But
it's a good theory.
I do sincerely hope that we're going, and that means that if we're going, then the world's getting better. So
indeed, it does.
Let's hope that is the case.
Indeed, that is. Because we want to be at the tracks. We missed last year. I really missed. I camp at Donington every year, and I really missed. I take my boys. The guys who follow the channel and watch the channel would have seen the boys do the live track draw for this season. I take the boys every year with the missus. Camp from Friday to Sunday. Go for the weekend. Have a really good time. And I missed it last year. It was like we sort of have a mini holiday, and it was really such a shame because the campsite's really nice. It's just nice to get away from normal life, I suppose, and obviously we didn't get to do that.
And such cracking good value. I mean, the tickets. The tickets. What did I just pay? £44 for the tickets. The whole weekend, including a paddock pass. We camp. Me and Daniel drive up on the Friday. We camp. It's a cracking good atmosphere in the campsite. There's not too much going on of an evening other than kind of people drinking and chatting or whatever. There's no bands on or anything like that.
At same
Thruxton. I don't know what Donington's like or any of the others, but at Thruxton there's nothing much on as such. But the camping costs us like 20 quid for the weekend.
Yeah, it's not too bad, is it?
It's such fantastic value, and I mean, it isn't just the touring cars. It's it depends on what series are following, but the Clio Cups, the GT3 Porsches, the single seaters, so on and so forth. It's it's a cracking good weekend, and I thoroughly recommend it to anybody who wants to go and see wants to go and see motorsport, probably not as exciting as what we're watching tonight, but wants to go and watch the real thing, then it's touring car is such good value.
Really is.
I just
this?
went on board now here with Andy, who's reeling Dan in at a rate of knots. Oh, that was an interesting line, Daniel.
That is a line. Andy has been into the pits. We saw just a moment ago. Gary pits now from second place. So Andy reeling unorthodox in, or Dan. And look at that difference in speed. Oh! Bit of a touch between the two there. Oh dear, bit of rubbing doors between the two of them. And Andy through now with ease as Gary's still in the pits. Andy, where's Gary? Is that Gary just... Yeah, Gary's just on pit exit. So is Andy then... If we're able to cut to the bigger screen, the trackside screen, we might be able to see if Andy can jump Gary here. There's Andy and Dan. I think Gary's just done this one. Just done this one as well. Oh, that was close.
Very.
Andy pitted. Dan hasn't pitted yet, so Dan not really in this battle at the moment, because obviously he'll drop off the back of this when he makes his pit stop, of course. But Gary then comes out P4 with the top three still to pit. So is Craig, so is Phil, Unorthodox, and AH, and Welsh is still to pit as well. I've not noticed come in the pits. So the top three still to pit. This is a battle for net second, effectively, on track at the moment.
Yes, indeed. And Andy done well there. Andy done well to reel Gary, because he was a few seconds behind when they started the pit. So, Andy's had a bit of a mistake.
Yeah, Unorthodox
around him, I didn't.
No, I didn't see what he'd done there. I didn't see he'd done. No, I didn't feel like he'd done anything wrong there. But Andy makes a bit of a mistake.
We swapped from one camera to the other, and all of a sudden he's behind Dan.
Strange, very strange.
I don't know if he had a little half spin or whatever. I don't know.
Well, Gary's
goes around the outside.
Gary's gone, and Andy back around the outside of Dan, and Dan makes that one a bit easier than last time. Then, as Little Leach pits now, obviously teammates cannot pit on the same lap. Emo guy now up into second place behind G as Little Leach in the pits. Now this will be interesting. Where's Little Leach going to come out? Because Andy was close to Gary. Well, Craig, aka Little Leach, was on the back of Andy when they pitted. We've had a retirement. Who is that? AH is retired. Oh, so I didn't actually notice when AH had retired there. So he's going to score no points in that one then. Shame for him. Now, where is Craig going to come out here?
He's behind Daniel.
Oh, yeah. Oh, no. Craig's actually lost a lot. Andy, that shows the work Andy's done. He's really gapped Little Leach, because Little Leach was quite comfortably on the back of Andy at one stage. And now he's not.
Yeah, he was within a second for ages within Andy, and now Andy's dropped him off a little bit. So Andy's had a good run with his pit stops, and has managed to make an advantage here, really. Although he doesn't seem to have the pace of Gary. He can't reel Gary back in again. As you can see, Gary's starting to pull away from Andy a little bit again.
Yeah, Gary just starting to drop the hammer on Andy now that he's come back out the pits. Can Little Leach gain on the back of Andy? Dan doing well to stay with Andy at the moment. We said this about Fury with Andy in race 1, that the Ferrari did well to stay with Andy, although Andy looks like he's now hit the oval and gone.
I wonder if the Ferrari gets better as the race goes on. I wonder if it
potentially.
I wonder if it warms its tyres nice or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah, we'll have to keep an eye on Dan. Obviously, Dan still got to pit, so Little Leach should effectively overtake him. Just looking who else has pitted. Keegs has pitted as well, so can Keegs get in front? Keegs is in 8th place, just behind his dad at the moment, so a bit of a father-son bond. I'd hate for Keegs to take his dad out, because no doubt you may see Keegs disconnect.
It happens. Me and Dan have been there many times. Having a quick look at the comments, Fury's granddad, fingers crossed for all of us on that one, Kelly. Yeah, absolutely. I presume you're talking about us being in a normal world again and not in this rubbish that we're living through at the moment. We're all hoping that by this summer we can all get back out there and start enjoying life again. Sooty Apex flat out at work. Do some work, man, isn't it?
Absolutely. He must be busy tonight. G did that time in the race.
Scat, bless him.
G did a 30...
Working to the bone.
Indeed. G did a 39.9, I do believe, or a 43.9 in the race. I do believe he did. So cracking job from G. Unorthodox has pitted then and has released Keegs into P7. Welchie just in front of Keegs then, not yet pitted. This man not making the progress we've seen. He's made a couple of mistakes tonight, and there is Unorthodox.
There he comes.
Now, actually, this is a battle that's been happening for quite a while. Peaceful's tried to pass Dan twice, on both occasions a span.
Yeah, Peaceful must be sick and tired of the back end of that Ferrari.
Yeah, he must
We've
indeed.
seen it a lot.
But it's nice to know he's not lost too much pace because he's back on the back of Unorthodox here, so he's kind of where he was before his pit stop.
For poor old Peaceful, I think it's a case of what could have been, wouldn't it?
Yeah,
because he's definitely got the pace in that car. And it's a knife edge, isn't it, Matt? It's a knife edge between being quick and not losing it, really. You know,
it is. Yeah. I'll
yes,
tell you one
indeed.
man we've not spoke about much in this race is D Biggs, Phil, and three men. D Biggs, Phil, and Big Boy Brazier not had the pace in this one really to get to the front.
No,
a lot. Phil
Sorry,
as well
mate.
hasn't. Phil hasn't pitted. AH is obviously D Biggs has. Big Boy Brazier has. Obviously, Big Boy Brazier and D Biggs we think had a collision early doors. But Phil, who's not pitted yet, or I've not seen him in the pits anyway, he's struggling down in P11. As there's Peaceful at the bottom of your screen, just getting past Unorthodox. And has he this time got the job done? Let's wait and see. He got it done coming through the bus stop. We missed the end of that move. We saw it sort of developing. Welshie's in the pits now, so the only man according to my notepad is Phil to pit. But Peaceful now can hopefully check out here. Surely they'll pass Welshie in the pits. As that's Welshie leaving the pit lane. You see it just underneath the screen. Yeah, they've well done him. Yeah, he's not even at the pit exit just yet. Well done him.
No.
Both on him have. Oh, that Ferrari done off pair when it's downshift, doesn't it? That sounds nice.
Lovely.
So,
Shame it's gutless, but it sounds nice.
it does. Look at how far Peaceful's gone though, just off the oval section.
I used to have a VW Polo like that. It used to sound fantastic, but don't go very well.
Look at Peaceful then. This is where Dan could capitalise over Peaceful Explosion. G's pitted and come out 7.5 seconds ahead of Gary, so that gap's pretty much as it was.
Peaceful going deep, real deep into that corner, but holds on to it that time.
Well, I was going to say, this is where we saw him have the problem the other lap, didn't it, with Dan, when he span at this moment here. Let's see what he does now. Yeah, a bit more cautious if you ask me. You see Dan really close up now. This is where Dan, it's just no chance.
Yeah, this is where the Merc starts to pull away, isn't it?
Look at it. That is gone.
Yeah. The Ferrari needs to do it all on the infield to try and keep hold of that, try and keep the back end of that Merc, because it just pulls away into the distance. I feel
it's gained 4 tenths.
GP2 engine.
Yes. It's gained 4 tenths just coming onto the oval as Peaceful there. Before the braking zone of the chicane, it gained 4 tenths. So 9 tenths the gap coming out the chicane. Let's see what it is by the time Peaceful breaks into turn 1. It's already gone up a tenth. There's 2.
Yep.
3 tenths. It's just gone. 4 tenths now.
Indeed.
He's pulled half a second after the bus stop chicane now.
That's crazy, isn't it? That Merc is certainly something in a straight line.
Oh, without
I still wouldn't choose it personally.
No, apparently it's a bit of a handful to drive, but by the time they braked, it was 1.8 was the gap, and he was 9 tenths when they come out the bus stop chicane, so it's nearly pulled out a second from the bus stop chicane to the first corner. Nearly pulled out a second as that Mercedes, so that is how good that Mercedes actually is. Andy back into P3. One man I've noticed who's jumped someone in the pits is Emo Guys. Jumped Little Leach in the pit stops.
Well, they're in close company. I think they might have. I think they were the other way around as we were on board with Dan and watching the Mercedes drive away. I think Emo Guys done Little Leach on track, I believe, reading between the lines a little bit. But Little Leach hasn't let it go, because Emo Guys still right there as they come through the chicane. Again, let's see what kind of pace the Lambo has through exactly the same section as we just did with the Ferrari and the Merc.
Yeah.
As you can see, looks like the Lambo has a little bit of pace as well, although the Porsche keeping it a bit more honest, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't think it looks like the Lambo's got the upper hand, but it doesn't look like that the Porsche is dropping back as far as the Ferrari to the Mercedes. It's lost a tenth or two coming into turn 1. Yeah, about 2.5, 3 tenths maybe. He lost that to Emo Guy there. Emo Guy very, very wiggly under the brakes. Oh dear, yeah. May have that car set up for the...
Little Leach closed right up on the back of him.
Yeah.
As Ian was all squirrely under the brakes.
So looks like Emo Guy may have that car set up more for the oval than the infield, as it looks a bit slippy and slidey coming through the infield section at the moment.
Does look like a handful, doesn't it? Looks like a proper handful as we carry on with Little Leach through the last couple of sequences.
Oh, there's a spinner up front. Oval. Oh, who's that? Well, that's a Ferrari.
That's a Ferrari, and who's going backwards quickly? Fury, I think. Poor old Fury having not quite such a good race as the first one.
No. Look at Little Leach.
So he's got.
Has he got the run? Well, I'll tell you what, if we pan out wide, we'll be able to see them side by side here. This could be a good little side by side shot. There we go. Look at that Lamborghini though. Even without that slipstream, that Lamborghini's just able to just pull out enough there, we see, over the Porsche to just get back in front of Little Leach.
Yes, indeed.
I tell you what, it looks a handful under the brakes and through the corners, as you see Emo Guy very steady through the chicane. But the minute they hit the oval, Emo Guy looks gone. So I wonder if he's just tweaked to set up more for better top speed than the better in the corners. But he's gone here. And it looks like if Little Leach is to get it done, he's got to get it done on the infield or the bus stop chicane.
Yes, indeed. And he's running out of time to do that with a couple of laps left.
He is indeed. We're on lap 16 of 17. And G has been in the lead. I don't think we've seen G once in this race, bar the start, to be fair. Little Leach then. There he is.
Again, doing a bit of a Lewis Hamilton. We spent the whole race talking about everybody else because the guy out in front is just really going round and round in circles all on his own. Yeah, he's too far in front is the only G. Yeah, and Gary there in second is what they're 7-8 seconds in front of 8 seconds up the road from Andy, who's he's
5.5 up the road from Emo Guy.
Yeah.
Who's got Little Leach right on the back of him?
He's got Little Leach right on the back of him. The only other thing going on is Daniel is... I thought he was going slowly there. It was just a camera angle. He's all over the back of... Jamie Brazier has passed him. Hello, Dan.
Yeah.
Flash the lights. I spoke to my boy today. He's probably having an absolute meltdown over that Ferrari and saying what a pile of crap it is. You know. Yeah. Don't do that around the Devosi. But yeah, he's probably moaning about that Ferrari. I spoke to him today, so he's just trying to get the best result he can out of this car, I think. Yeah. I believe if Dan goes again next year, next season, he'll probably pick something else, to be fair. But,
well, I know he was in the Porsche last year and looked quite good in the Porsche when he picked that one last year, running as an independent as well. So obviously he had free reign over the car. Little Leach show. This is the battle for the 4th and 5th spot on track, and again Little Leach just not able to get past Emo Guy at the moment.
No, he's keeping Emo Guy honest, but he's just not got enough pace to reel him back in again, has he?
Emo Guy just seems to stretch his legs enough on the oval that by the time it gets to the infield, Little Leach closes in too late. By the time he's closed in, they're back on the oval again.
Yes, indeed.
Oh, look at him under the brakes here.
On the brakes, look. That turn 1 is a real problem for Ian, isn't it?
Yeah, he's struggling through turn 1 with that Lamborghini, and this is where Little Leach now needs to capitalise on the last lap. We'll jump on board with G in just a moment. Little Leach is going to have a look around the outside then. He can't get that one done there. Although Emo Guy doesn't seem to have got a great exit on that corner, if you ask me.
No, we'll just have a look where's G2 on the lap. We don't want to miss the end.
Coming up. I think he's coming up. I want to say he's coming up to the bus stop chicane.
Yeah, it's hard to tell there, isn't it?
Oh, Welsh's in the pits and he's got a time penalty. Oh, what's happened to Welsh? There's a Ferrari. That is Fury, I reckon.
Fury, yep.
G coming up to the bus stop chicane. Have I missed Phil pitting somewhere? Because I've not got him down as pitting, but it would have made him pit last lap. It would have told him mandatory pit stop to pit. So I reckon I missed Phil pitting at somewhere. If those in the comments get your chat voting for driver of the day at the moment, I'm going to give mine to Gary, a first and a second. He's been absolutely brilliant, but you can take nothing away from this man in this race, as he's been absolutely fantastic himself. The only G disappointing race 1, but he's going to take the race 2 victory by a good margin of 10 seconds, and G takes the race win then here for round 6 of Simplay Motorsport's GT3 Pro Series. A great win for the only G.
Yes, indeed. And Gary's 6 or 7 seconds behind there. He comes in second place. Andy with a solid third.
Yeah.
He'll be reasonably happy with that. He's flashing his lights, I would say he was. Little Leach not quite able to get onto the back of Emo Guy just at the end there, as Emo Guy does some acrobatics at the end and smashes up his Lamborghini, because he can do that in a virtual world. Little Leach there in 5th. Keegs will come across the line.
Good result that for Keegs.
6th. Sorry?
Good result that for Keegs. That's his best result of the season, that one.
Not too bad. Big boy Jamie Brazier there is going to finish off in 7th. Daniel, again, I would say reasonably solid, considering where he started.
I don't think he can be unhappy with P8. I think Big boy Brazier 7th, with Unorthodox taking a P8. I think, solid result. D Biggs slides across the line for a P9.
What could have been for this guy, eh?
Oh, yeah. Tell me about... Oh, we actually did... He got past Unorthodox earlier. So we didn't actually see what went wrong with Peaceful Explosion, is he?
Yeah.
He's obviously had another mistake.
Right,
yeah, he's obviously had another mistake somewhere and hasn't got through. Phil, P11, not the second race he'd have wanted. Welshie. This is going to be interesting. Yeah, came into the pits late, so must have got a 10-second penalty. But he's 47 seconds ahead of his teammates. That's not really going to affect him at the moment. Struggled in this one, I think. These Welshie and Deeks, they got a P7 and 13 between them, and now they're 12th and 13th again for Deeks. So not the night for them too. Fury, obviously, P14 AH didn't finish in this one. Who got the fastest lap? I think it's just mine and your vote for Gary for driver of the day at the moment, because no one else seems to have got one in. Fastest lap, G, 43.9. Easy as you like.
Yes, indeed.
So the only G then, fastest lap of the race for that one. Kelly, pleasure having you alongside me as always.
Yeah, my pleasure, Matt. It's always I always feel privileged to come over and commentate here on Simplay. Do the likes thing, guys, so on and so forth. I thought tonight was I thought it was grown-up racing tonight, Matt. Does that make sense?
Yeah, there was a few bits of argy-bargy lap one in both races, but the rest of it seemed very very professional.
Yes, indeed. We're getting a couple of comments back now for Gary. Gary being driver of the day. Jamie Brazier saying Gary for driver of the day. Michael Matthews driver of the day. Gary. So you've got to be really. He's made the best out of the evening, hasn't he?
Michael Matthews there had the pace, but kept running out of talent. Waste of the double points tonight. Yeah, not the double points that Peaceful would have wanted to take tonight. It's bumped him up the championship a little bit, but it's not what he's done. Gary, though, fantastic racing, a first and a second. Brilliant racing from Gary all night. G unlucky in race 1, what could have been maybe for him. Andy as well, a good P3 after a dismal first race. Emo Guy, a good P4 after a dismal first race. And likes of Craigs and Keegs as well. Them 4 or 5 guys have seemed to have better second races after a poor first race of the night.
Yes, indeed. So, as I say, a grown-up night tonight. I thought it was. I thought the racing was all very grown up and all very professional tonight.
It really was. Well, it's been a pleasure, Kelly, having you in the commentary box. Guys, 18 people watching, 16 likes. Let's get them thumbs up on the video. Let's try and get it to 20 likes just before it goes off of air. Thank you all, though, for tuning in. We'll be live next Wednesday and Thursday night from 8 PM on the Simplay Motorsport channel for our Pro and Pro-Am series around Portimao in Algarve. Where the weather forecast at the moment doesn't look great, I must say, but we'll obviously keep our eyes in what can happen in a week's time. But from all of us here at Simplay Motorsport, thanks for tuning in. Take care and good night.
Thank you. Good night.